The Champions League final is one of the biggest football occasions on the planet Earth. It is not the sort of occasion in which you want to find your worst player is also your most significant. Sadly, that's just what happened on the 26th of May 2018, when Real Madrid came up against Liverpool to contest for their third consecutive Champions League trophy. This should have been a game in which one player's brilliance stole the show, making him a hero. Instead, it was a game when Karius, Liverpool's German goalkeeper, turned into a villain. A soccer team is only as strong as its weakest link. And Karius, that day, was a very weak link indeed. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. First, Karim Benzema pounced on a loose pass from Karius, and a half hour later Karius let Gareth Bale's shot from distance to reach the back of the net. Valery Lobanovsky, the legendary coach of Dynamo Kyiv, would have been appalled by what he saw. To Lobanovsky, a team's goal was to make mistakes in no more than 18% of all of its players' actions. Liverpool, through Karius alone in a single half, had far surpassed that limit. He is not the only man to have such a devastating effect on his team's hopes. Soccer is a team game, but it is one prone to being decided by sheer, staggering individual ineptitude. Every team has had a player whose very presence chills a fan's blood, whether it is William Prunier at Manchester United, Liverpool's Jimmy Traoré, Abel Xavier for Portugal, Jean-Alain Boumsong at Newcastle, Bayern Munich's Holger Badstuber, or even Marco Materazzi while at Inter, players who, with one misplaced pass, one lapse in concentration, can undo all the good work their managers and teammates have done over the course of a game, a week or, in Karius's case, an entire Champions League campaign. Incompetence can also be communal. A team can be condemned by a lack of cohesion in defense, an absence of harmony and balance in midfield, or by apparent unfamiliarity in the attack. All can doom a side's chances of winning a game or lifting a trophy. As Lobanovsky recognized, soccer is a weakest link game where success is determined by whichever team makes the fewest mistakes, whether they are individual or collective. The fewer Kariuses a team has, the better its connections between its disparate parts, the better its chance of winning a match, and the higher it will finish in the league. This may seem obvious, but think of the consequence. If soccer is a weakest link game, where success is determined not just by what you do well but what you don't do badly, then it is by definition not a strongest link game. It is not the best players on the pitch or the strongest area of a team that decides who wins. Teams that spend their summers lavishing millions on recruiting the latest superstar may have it all wrong. Soccer is vastly different from basketball, the most superstar-driven sport. It is less a result of Lionel Messi's majesty, of Toni Kroos's passing, of Cristiano Ronaldo's strength and speed, of Neymar's skill, than of the leaden boots and dull minds of Karius and his ilk, or their poor linkages with teammates. If you want to build a team for success, you need to look less at your strongest links and more at your weakest ones. It is there that a team's destiny is determined, whether it will go down in history or be forever considered a failure. And that makes a soccer team rather like a NASA space shuttle. Michael Kramer, a very creative economist at Harvard University, invented one of the most influential of these floor theories. Kramer's original article from 1993 was called The O-Ring Theory of Economic Development. The name originates from the rings of high-tech rubber that were designed to seal the tiny gaps between the stages of the booster rockets that would lift the Space Shuttle Challenger into the sky in 1986. The rings, though, froze in the cold overnight temperatures at NASA's Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral, Florida, and failed, allowing hot gases to escape and strike the enormous external fuel tank, eventually causing an explosion and the demolition of the entire vehicle, as well as the deaths of all 7 crew members on board. The failure of that one small part caused a sophisticated, complex, multi-million-dollar machine to malfunction. The O-ring was the weakest link in a system whose components and subprocesses were all integrated. Kramer's insight was that many production processes, any time a group of people assembles to work together, are divided into a series of tasks, mistakes in any of which can dramatically reduce the product's value or the overall success of the group's efforts. One mistake, one slip, by one individual, and the whole is affected. In general, workers execute a task with a certain efficacy. The most skilled worker may do a task at 1%, while his less talented, motivated, or knowledgeable co-workers make errors with varying frequency and scale so that their individual quality on this task is 95%, 82%, and so on. Sometimes in life, these errors add up, but they won't cause a catastrophe. But in the kind of production process Kramer is worried about, the errors multiply rather than add up. The result, therefore, can be fatal. So, when the O-ring on the Challenger failed to perform its task, it zeroed out the entire shuttle. How does this affect soccer? Think of a team as a small company with 11 workers, 10 of whom are performing an equally important task at optimal 1% efficacy while the 11th is performing at only 45% capacity. In some economic processes, the value of the final product is still 95%. Add all the qualities and divide by 11, so the effect is minimal. But for an O-ring process, the value is 45%, achieved by multiplying the qualities, and the product will be consigned to the bargain bin, the company declared bankrupt, the painting tore from the wall, or the team relegated. We need to determine, then, whether soccer is an O-ring process. Whether one inefficient member or a faulty connection between two players, or a rare mistake by a great player can significantly affect the entire team's performance. Does soccer have the hallmarks of those economies Kramer was discussing? Stay tuned to know just that.